Hey Nuclear Knights, it's Buddha Gem, and just watched your video, and it's always a pleasure to find a thoughtful, intelligent woman here on YouTube. Unfortunately, YouTube's dominated by men. Just the nature of the beast. So keep up the good work, keep up the good videos. You asked for responses, so I'm just gonna throw out a little response here. The whole idea that oil's renewable is complete nonsense. I forget the name of the theory. It's been a while since I looked at it, but it's there's no science behind it. However, you did. I wanted to take issue. You said there's no reason gas prices are so high, and you kind of convolute oil and gas there, but that's not a big deal. I know what you're talking about. The reason is speculation, and this seems to be a popular meme that these these evil speculators are the ones driving up the oil prices, and really there's not a lot of truth to that. We are going through peak oil now. All the signs point to that, and matter of fact, I just read an interesting story, kind of touched on that, and let me quote: "The scope of the supply problem became more clear in the latest quarter when the 5 biggest publicly traded oil companies, including ExxonMobil, said their oil output had declined by a total of 614,000 barrels a day, even as they posted $44 billion in profits. It was the steepest of 5 consecutive quarters of declines." The steepest of 5 consecutive quarters of declines. That's peak. Now, I think, what happens a lot of times, and you kind of got that from your video, is people hear about peak oil and they tend to think that it's running out of oil, and that's not the case. Oil, we've all seen the pictures of the geysers flying up in the air. When you initially find a source of oil, it's usually very easy to get out of the ground. There's a lot of pressure. It shoots out of the sky, not always, but there's a lot of pressure. It comes out very easily, and it comes out in a bell curve. As you reach the peak, it gets harder and harder. It takes more and more energy to get the remaining oil out. Oftentimes, you don't get all the oil out. And the U.S. peaked in the 70s. We've steadily declined despite technology and all the wonders that we've all the things that we've tried to do to get more oil. We've steadily declined. The world is declining in oil production, and I'll put a link to this story. It's a mainstream news story. We are peaking, and and that is really the driving force, because what has happened is there's a very small buffer between supply and demand right now. Yes, there's been a small short-term decrease in oil prices. I'm not going to get into all that, but we are peaking. I'll put a link to the story. Again, it's not running out, but we are running out of the cheap oil, and it's going to get progressively more expensive to get the oil out of the ground. One of the things to remind ourselves, though, is oil is more than gas. Oil is all around us. Oil is, the plastics around you. Oil means food. We have to think, especially here in the United States, the average is 1,500 miles that a meal travels before it reaches your plate. 1,500 miles. It's a lot of fossil fuels. Fossil fuels going in the tractors, the fertilizers, on and on and on. So oil really does mean food, and there's nothing that does everything the oil does that's even on the horizon. Doesn't mean we don't keep trying, but let's not kid ourselves that technology or science is going to save us. I don't know. I'd like to hear you talk more about peak oil and the end of capitalism. I'm always a little wary of such pronouncements. Capitalism, if anything, has shown itself to be a very dynamic system, and I don't know that peak oil will destroy it. But I'd like to hear your more thoughts on that. I just wondering what you meant. Is industrialization a good thing? Yes. Unfortunately, the mode of industrialization vis-a-vis capitalism that we have explored, it basically produces most of what we produce is waste. Most of the food we produce is wasted. Most of the products we produce are wasted. Most of the things we produce are complete waste. What would a society look like that didn't produce so much waste? Could it be more environmentally sustainable? I think the answer is yes. But that will be, something we'll have to figure out. As far as going back to hunter-gatherer societies, I don't think most humans would sign up for that. I certainly don't want to spend my day picking berries, unless maybe on a Saturday for fun, but not to survive. I do like going to stores and picking up my food. So the one thing I just wanted to point out was that peak oil. It really does appear to be happening. We're going through it now. And that's much of what we see with, the geopolitical maneuvering that's going on with Russia and China and the United States, trying to get access to these reserves of oil. It is one of the main reasons we're in Iraq. It was no mistake that it was originally called Operation Iraqi Liberation Oil. It's pretty simple. If Iraq, their major export were dates, we wouldn't be there. Hopefully I answered your questions. I do think industrialization is a good thing, and I think it can be a much better thing under worker control. As far as nationalizing the oil industries, I can't get behind that. Just from an anarchist point of view, it's not really something that appeals to me. Consolidating power in the state. But as far as worker control of industries, yes. But we're a long ways from that. We need a lot more organizing before we can, really think about that. So, peace.